Okay, so step 10 is actually virtually identical, but now we have the right side bracket, and you can see this bracket, the finish on it is not nearly as good as the other one. So obviously these were two separate processes, probably on separate machines. So this goes on the exact same way as the other one, but we're doing the other side, and now this bracket goes up and down like this instead of like this on the other one. So like this, and we have the M4s go through here, M4 nuts. I like these because there's no adjustment to them, so you know it's set and it's going to be like that for good. So 1, 2. I much prefer when there's no guesswork. The instructions aren't too clear when there's adjustment. They're not too clear where they want you to set it. There's no like default position, which would be extremely helpful. So now that we've already done one also, I'm hoping this goes a little bit quicker. The nuts that go up there in the corners are a bit finicky. A nut driver would go really well here, but as much as possible I'm trying to install the kit with the tools that they give you, because so far it's actually worked out. The only thing I use really is my tweezers to be able to get at the really small bolts in the bags they give you. But everything else is fairly standard. Okay, I'm going to use the wrench. Try to tighten these down. Oh yeah, these don't. The wrench doesn't fit on these. These aren't tightening down as hard as the other ones either. Yeah, that won't work at all. All that'll have to do, maybe I'll just go around and put a little bit of hot glue onto those pieces. So now for this piece, making sure that the kind of bored out wells go the right way. So it shows like this in the center. So again, we're going to put the nuts in those wells. Attach this. This goes, let's see, this way. This is pretty finicky, but kind of expected that. It's not entirely unexpected. I'm usually okay with finicky. It's a little harder to do on camera. Let's see if I can get the tweezers in there. Okay, same thing with this. I'm going to put it kind of downwards. And kind of tighten them. Okay, so now these pieces should go together like this. And so I think I'm going to put this guy on first. And then we'll, make the wheels. Be good to go after that. Okay, that's one. Put the other one in. Okay, again, I'm just going to tighten these just so they don't rattle around. And now we can build the wheels. So it looks like the bolts come in from this side, the stepper motor side. I'm thinking there's a reason for that, but it could be that's just what they decided, who knows. Trying to get that washer to align. There we go. Like this. Next one in. Spacer. Spacer, then one more. Thought I was missing a spacer, but it was over here. That. Okay, and now I should be able to put these two together. Like that. Put the nuts on. And then drive them home with the screwdriver. And yeah, the second half did go a lot quicker than the first. Come on, get on there. Oh wow. This nut actually has no threads. I'll see if I can give you a close-up of that in a minute here. I was wondering why it wouldn't go on. It has no threads cut. Let me refocus you here. Don't know if you can see that, but inside there are absolutely no threads. So let me go cut some threads and I'll be right back. Don't know if you can tell now, but now it's tapped. Alright, so let's assemble this thing finally. Okay, last piece. Here it goes. Hopefully it's the right pitch. Oh yeah, there we go. So there's a few things so far that were pretty drastically wrong with the kit. Not a big deal if you've got tools kicking around, but not everyone does, right? You need a drill and a end mill in order to get a flat bottom on one of the holes that weren't drilled, and you need a M5 tap to get the last nut tapped. I think this is exactly how they wanted it done. Looks like it to me. We can move on to the next step. And now we're at step 11. So step 11 is we take our carriages. This is the left-hand one with the L there. And we put it on the Z-axis on the left-hand side of the machine. There you go, that's one in. Pull it over so you can see. So that one's installed. And then we take the right-hand carriage, one with the R there, and we put this on the Z carriage on the other side. So there we go. There's one, and there's two. Now, this might be a little hard to see, so I might do this one off camera, and in fact, I'm not sure how much more I'll be able to show you this camera angle, but two T-nuts have to go into here and here on both carriages through these two holes on one side, and M4 screws, and then an extrusion has to go across here. So let me get that ready and I'll bring you back. So the crossbar is now installed. The I guess this is the X-axis, so you got the X carriage will go back and forth like this, the Y will go back and forth like this, and the Z-axis will go up and down like that. I can see there might be a problem here. So because it didn't tell me how to adjust these brass nut holders onto these slider plates here, I'll try to move that a little bit more, onto these slider plates here, so they have adjustment kind of back and forth and up and down a bit. I didn't put them super tight, but now that they're on the Z-axis, there's actually no way to reach them to tighten them. So that could be an issue. And in fact, if I lift up, if I hold this side down, and I lift up and down the other side, you can see the whole bar is twisting. And I'm hoping that the fact that this thing is using double Z-axis rods, so like threaded rods, so they look like this. I'm hoping the fact that they're using two of those will eliminate a lot of that shake. Also, I seem to be running low on T-nuts. I only have 3 T-nuts left. Not sure what they're going to be used for. I can see that there might not be that much left to use T-nuts on, but hopefully they sent me enough. I do have some more T-nuts, but I think they're M5 and these are M4. So we'll see. But this is looking more and more like a 3D printer at the moment. So let's go on to the next step. Okay, so now we're at step 12, where we're actually going to place the Z-axis motor. I'm standing off all the way on this side now because the whole machine had to be moved this way for me to get this into the shot. So we have our motor, our 16-tooth GT2 pulley, and our 4 M3x6 screws. And so I think the first thing I'll do, so I don't have to mess with it too much, is I'm going to secure the pulley onto the shaft. And I know that it may not align perfectly with the extrusion, but I'll be able to do the final adjustment once it's installed. Okay, and now these screws, I believe they're stainless. They're not super magnetic. They are magnetic a little bit, but not very magnetic. So it's a little hard to do. I'm going to slide this in here. Go get one. Whoops. See what I mean? I kind of have to point the screwdriver up in order to have it stay. That's 2. That's 3. And Number 4 here is the most awkward. Whoop, yeah. And that's 4. Okay, now you never tighten them down until you have all of them in. Now that they're all in, I'm going to tighten them down. I put the plug facing upwards here. I don't know if that'll be a problem, but I'm hoping it'll allow me to tuck the wires better and be able to reach them if I need to service them or if I need to probe them. I'm not quite sure. I think in the drawing they are pointing down, but this is a very easy adjustment to make. Just take these 4 screws off, which are not actually encumbered by anything, and flip the stepper motor around. Now I'm going to try to line this up with the extrusion, which could be an issue because if you can see here, it seems to be way out more this way than it should be. So let me see if I can adjust that. Not much adjustment left in the other direction. I may have to take the pulley off actually and flip it around. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. There were some pulleys here that were flipped around the other way, but there we go, let's try that. But the drawings all show them flipped with this collar over that way, so that's still off a little bit. Let's try over here. That looks about right, and I can do the final adjustment once the belt is on. I'm not exactly sure when that'll be, but it seems like it'll be soon. I'm running out of parts here for the actual machine, so that could be a good thing. Okay, this step completed. This axis gained a lot of weight now with the stepper motor, and so we go on to the next one. So for step 13, now we're doing the extruder. So we need the stepper motor with the gear with the fine teeth. We need this piece, and we need this M5 bolt, which works as a stopper and a spring. We need 3 M3 bolts, 2 that are 22 mils, which I believe are these 2, and 1 that is 16 mils, which is this guy. And we'll be installing it on the other side of the x-axis. So this is the only stepper motor where this gear was affixed tightly. I can check that it's tight, but it's on there really secure. I know there were some issues in some of the other kits where the stepper would skip steps, and that was because it was too loose, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. It seems to be very solidly attached. I'm looking for an Allen key to check, but I can't find it. Oh, I think it's this one. No, it is not. I don't even think I have an Allen key that size. So I'd have to go into my own tools, but it seems to be just fine. There's a little piece of aluminum just hanging out there, probably from the kit. Anyways, okay, so I'm going to put the wires facing out back, simply because that's my choice. And I have checked, and this does seem to line up properly. So I'll take this here, a stepper motor, install it here, and then put this block on top. This is the order they tell you to do it in. Then feed down these Phillips screws. This can be a bit finicky because it seems like everything has to line up by itself, sort of naturally, through a bunch of brackets. Okay, so that has worked. That's installed loosely. Now they want you to put the spring through here. It just has a little seat, and the head of the bolt will go into this part, and then this part here bolts through with the shorter screw, and that feeds through that black bracket and onto the stepper motor. Not sure how easy this is supposed to be. There we go. It seems like you have to put quite a bit of tension on the spring here. Let's tighten this down and see what happens. Okay, this is all loosely installed, and it seems to be, that seems to be it. So let's support this and tighten them in a cross pattern. There we go. Now it is my understanding, yeah, okay, so this self-tensions this roller bearing here with a groove onto this tooth gear. It seems like the tooth gear is aligned properly, and it seems like if I need to shim it, I can always move it up a bit. It is sort of just barely proud of the brass gear here, which means that it looks like it's using the very, very top of those teeth, which means that every time I shim it up a bit, I'll get a little bit more useful life out of it. So that seems good. I'm going to double check that all my bolts are tightened. And that's the extruder. I have another extruder that I bought for my self-built 3D printer, but we're going to try with this one because I want to see it how it is the way it's delivered. Okay.